everybody, it's Paige Evans. Thanks so much for joining me on this Crafting About Reading YouTube hop put on by Becki Adams with some amazing contributors. So welcome to my little portion of it. I am creating a layout called Summer Reading, backing a cut file. So the first thing I did was have my Silhouette Cameo cut out this open book with flowers cut file. This is one of mine. I cut it from textured white American Crafts cardstock, a speed of 3, a depth of 3 as well, and my mat is fairly new, so it's kind of sticky. I had to be especially careful not to tear any of the intricate pieces as I was peeling it off the mat. And I am going to use my Wonders project pad, which is available in Joann stores. For this entire layout, there are 11 solid papers in the back, which is what I used to have the Silhouette Cameo cut out all of the backing pieces. I have several YouTube videos showing you how to do this. It's just one of those things that the Cameo can do that makes backing cut files so easy and not as tedious as tracing and fussy cutting and doing it all by hand. So I can leave a link to that type of process video in the description. And yeah, I just used the solid papers found in the project pad to cut the backing pieces, and then I'm going to take some time to glue all of the pieces in place using liquid sticky thumb glue, also by American Crafts. And be sure to read the description of this video to hop along to everybody's process video. And I have an old book that I use to back the pages. So I guess that's technically not part of my Wonders collection. I just have pieces of an old book that I thought were very fitting for the pages of the book part of the cut file. There is a green floral pattern paper in the project pad, so I tore off about a 4-inch section of it and am putting it at the bottom, kind of like the book is on a hill. And since we're going with a scene theme, I covered the top 2/3. I am covering it with this pattern paper, reminds me of sky. So we've got the blue sky and the green grass and the open book with flowers coming out of it. And rather than glue everything on a piece of white cardstock, I'm going to use the white cardstock as a reference for recreating a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So added adhesive onto the back of the hill and aligned it with the blue sky part. So the full background is 12 by 12, and then I can reuse that white cardstock on a different layout. I tore off that edge of the green floral paper and going to distress it a little more, give it some character and texture. I found this 3.5-inch square photo of my son Fox reading with me outside. One of the things I look forward to the very most in the summertime is all of the flowers and the warm weather, and reading outside. Seriously, one of the things I look forward to most. And as I'm doing the voiceover for this layout, as soon as I'm done, I'm going outside to do just that. I'm attaching this entire backed cut file onto the background using foam squares so that it is literally popping off the page to create dimension and shadows. Since scrapbooking is very flat by nature with the flat papers, I always like to add some dimension with foam squares. So I've got that stuck down. I'm going to add this photo over here onto the left side so you can still see the majority of the backed cut file. And then going to use these gold foil alphabet stickers from the project pad to create the title of Summer Reading, and I'm following the curves of the pages of the book on the cut file. And then going to audition my friend Missy Whidden, who's also part of this hop, loves to, that's just the perfect description of what I'm doing now, is placing things, seeing if I like them. If I like them, I stick them down. If I don't like them, well, I save it for a different project. They're also from the 12 by 12-inch sticker sheet with those gold alpha letter stickers are butterflies and bees and dragonflies and ladybugs. And I want to turn them into die cuts essentially, so I place them on a piece of scratch white cardstock and I am fussy cutting them out. These stickers are a little bit thinner than the cardstock stickers in my Wonders collection, and they also stick. And you can remove them, but I feel like once you stick them down, they tend to tear if you decide you don't like them there. And so by adding them onto cardstock and fussy cutting them out, then I can continue with the audition process. And if I like it, great. And if I don't, I can easily move it around. So turning stickers into die cuts is one of those fun techniques, and you get more bang for your buck that way. I am going to draw some flight trails coming from all three of these bees. I'm using a pencil first to make sure I like the way the trails look. And then grabbing a paper piercer, a foam mat, and going to glue the bees in place first because I like the placement. I don't want them falling off as I'm doing some hand stitching. So putting them onto the drawn trails and then using the paper piercer to poke a hole along the pencil lines about every 1/8 inch. And then I'm going to do a, goodness, I don't even know what the official type of stitch is called. I really need to figure that out. But it's just where you go over, under, just going through every single hole up and down. I'm just showing you how I'm piercing these holes by hand. So didn't use a ruler or anything, just eyeballing it, trying to make the spacing about 1/8 of an inch apart between every hole. But it's not perfect, and that's okay. I am a-okay with that. And once I've poked the holes, I'll use the eraser from the pencil and also a brush. I just have a dry brush nearby to wipe away the excess eraser pieces. It's just easier than using my hands. I think my hands tend to tear things or rip things if I get too rough with removing the eraser bits. So I just have a dry brush that I keep close by. And time for the stitching. I'm using all 6 strands of white DMC embroidery floss. I tied a double knot at the end, and I'm starting at one end of the 3 trails, and yeah, doing this stitch where you skip over. You just go in one hole, out the next, in the next hole, out the next, and it creates this every other stitched look. I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know the official title of this stitching because I love hand stitching. The texture and interest that these trails add, I think it's the perfect finishing touch to this layout. It just adds that something extra that really brings you in and completes this scene. You know, we've got the green grass, the blue skies, flowers coming out of a book, which, you know, of course that doesn't really happen in real life, but it looks pretty to have all the flowers and the colors. And since I read outside with all the flowers, it goes together hand in hand. And yeah, so adding this hand stitching, I think, just really completes the layout. Back to the auditioning process, there were a few more insects that I turned into die cuts, these bug stickers placed on white cardstock and fussy cut, and I don't know, I just decided not to use all of them. I do end up putting that little red ladybug right here on some of the white space, overlapping the white space of the photo, the edge of the photo, and tucking in a butterfly between the title and one more slightly larger butterfly overlapping the other edge of the photo. So that just kind of completes the outdoor theme with all the insects flying around because it happens. And I needed to add journaling, so one of the cut apart papers in the project pad has a journaling lines card. I thought I could figure out how to incorporate it onto the layout somehow, some way, but it was just too big. So instead of having that card, I decided to use a dark blue pen and simply write my journaling underneath the book. So it kind of ties into the overall design, the overall look of the background. A little hard to see unless you're really looking at it up close and in person, but journaling is there, just talks about how much I love reading outside in the summertime. I really do. Like I said, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going outside to read. Currently reading Poldark Loved the show, so now I'm going to read the book. Here is the finished layout. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hop along and check out all of the wonderful things that Becki Adams is doing in memory of her son. I will see you again in my next process video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day, my friends.